All right, now 6 minutes past 8 a.m. in the morning. It's JORRAM SSONKO here on SMB. Now let's head into what is happening locally and internationally as well. Now we do start from the local updates here as the National Identification Registration Authority (NIRA) has urged parents to notify, certify and register their newly born babies, for it helps the government in the planning process. Now addressing the media at Uganda Media Center, Rosemary Chisembo, the Executive Director NIRA, said as Uganda joins the rest of other African countries to mark Africa's Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day today, it is the responsibility of parents to notify NIRA to have their babies in National Identification Register. Now she says the birth notification and registration is free of charge. Let's have a look at this story.
As a human right, as
birth registration is recognized as a human right in the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Today, Uganda is joining other African countries to mark the Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day. While addressing the journalists at Uganda Media Center, Rosemary Chisembo, the Executive Director of National Identification Registration Authority, called upon parents to notify, certify and register their newly born.
One recognized it as a human right, as birth registration as a human right. So my role today is simple: to create awareness, to call the public, to tell a friend and tell another about birth registration. It's a legal requirement. We recognize you in the law, but it even has immense benefits for you as an individual in recognition of you being a citizen of this country, but also it is vital to help in government planning. Government is able to know that this number of children are born, most births are occurring in this area, maybe we need more health centers in that area. In the next 10 years, we need to plan for so many secondary schools because we are having the population growth.
Chisembo warned those masquerading as NIRA officials, soliciting money from Ugandans, promising finding them national IDs, saying NIRA only works with local leaders, not any other person.
We do not have people who work for us outside the local government structure. So if we are in the village and the person is not an LC1 chairman or an official of the LC1, we are not working with anybody else outside those structures. If you are the parish and the person is not an LC2, we are not working with them. If you are the sub-county and the person is not a sub-county official, we are not working with them. But the best way to deal with masqueraders is to expose them.
During the week, NIRA intends to bring birth registration services closer to the public from Monday 9th to 13th of August 2021. A birth certificate is a personal document issued to an individual to prove registration at a cost of 5,000 Uganda shillings. Edson Mombere, Smart 24 TV, Smart means business.
Right now, thanks Edison Mombere is our chief reporter there with that particular story. Now, what you should know that is a birth certificate is a personal document that is issued to any individual to prove registration, and it is at a cost of 5,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, moving on, GoTV Uganda has launched new prices for its decoder. As officials said, with effect from 9th August, television subscribers will be able to get a GoTV decoder at a cost of 25,000 shillings. That drops from 39,000 shillings. And this comes after GoTV Uganda did launch the Chikubire Waka, which is set to drive a number of European League matches on the platform. Now, according to Collins Asimwe, the head of marketing at MultiChoice Uganda, the leagues that will be showcased will include the English Premier League, Italian Serie A, La Liga and FA Cup, among others. Now, furthermore, subscribers will be able to get themselves a new decoder, which will receive a free GoTV value subscription for 1 month. Let's have a look at this story.
You get to the group stages of the Champions League, you will get the entire Europa. So it depends on the bouquet, and I think that if you remain at GoTV value, your matches, they are there. you will still see a few matches, but they will be limited. So what we encourage customers is to, even if you move up to GoTV Plus, which is 26,000, you can still enjoy some really great. You get every La Liga game. You get every Serie A game. You get 4-6 games of EPL a week. You get to the group stages of the Champions League. You will get the entire Europa. So it depends on the bouquet. And I think that if you remain at GoTV value, your matches, they are there. You will still see a few matches, but they will be limited. So what we encourage customers is to, even if you move up to GoTV Plus, which is 26,000, you can still enjoy some really great.
Right, that is Mr. Collins Simwe, the head of marketing at MultiChoice Uganda, giving more details on the 25,000 Ugandan shillings where you can easily get your decoder. Furthermore, on that particular story, by the way, if at all you have yourself a Go tenner, you can actually it is actually easier for you. But at this particular rate, you can get yourself 45,000 to go get yourself a Go tenner plus that particular decoder. So you will need 20,000 Ugandan shillings to get yourself a Go tenner. That is if at all you want to subscribe to Go TV or Chikubire Waka like any other person out there. Now moving on, Gulu. Now we move to the northern part of Uganda, as Gulu has registered up to 4,477 cases of teenage pregnancies within a period of 18 months. Now, statistics from Gulu City and District Probation Department indicate that the cases were registered between January 2020 and June 2021. Now, a report compiled by Jessica Anena, the probation officer of Gulu District, indicates that the 2,932 teenagers were impregnated in 2020, while 1,545 got pregnant between January and June 2021. Now in 2020, Gulu City registered 1,768 cases of teenage pregnancies and another 922 cases this year. Now Gulu District registered 1,165 in 2020 and another 629 cases in January and June 2021. Now, Anena decried the alarming teenage pregnancies in Gulu as something she attributed to poverty, as well as lack of parental care and guidance, and domestic violence, lockdown, moral dependency, and closure of learning institutions in the country. Well, that particular story is a sad one concerning pregnancies to all the teenagers out there, and who knows if it only happens in Gulu, what about some areas in the country? So this is also a checker on a number of districts and also the parents who are keeping their children home will stay 2 years without studying. Now, meanwhile, lastly, in our local updates, now we stay in Kampala, meanwhile, as the High Court in Kampala has ordered the government to compensate Mityana Municipality Member of Parliament Francis Zake with 70 million Ugandan shillings for the torture inflicted on him while in state of custody. Now, the order issued by Justice Esther Nabayo arises from a case in which Zake sued the Attorney General together with 8 police officers after being detained at various detention facilities, where the officers allegedly tortured him, affecting his eyesight and right leg. Now, he was arrested from Mityana district on grounds that he was involved in activities that were likely to spread COVID-19 in the community. Now, before his arrest, Zake had been distributing food to communities in Mityana municipality that were affected by the first COVID-19 lockdown, which started in March 2020. All right, now there we end our local updates here on SMB and this second hour of the show. Now we head into the foreign news updates and we see what is trending from our neighbors to the rest of the world. Now we start from the United States, that is in the US, the western part of the globe, as a burst of new disclosures exposing the extraordinary efforts by ex-President Donald Trump to steal power after his election defeat constitute a grave warning about the future and his potential bid to recapture the White House. Now this comes after the audacity of the former president's attempts to subvert the law by weaponizing the Justice Department, and only underscores how close the United States came to a full-blown constitutional crisis this year. Now, new revelations emerging from Senate testimony about the Trump Justice Department loyalties alleged behind-the-scenes efforts to call into question the elections in states that the ex-president did lose. Now, also rendered the continued GOP whitewashing the history about Trump's crimes against the Constitution even more blatant and dangerous. And that brings us to the end of that particular story, as the future of Donald Trump and his potential to bid recapture for another term at the White House still in the corners there. Now, lastly, in our foreign updates here on Smart Means Business, the governments of Somalia and Kenya have agreed to improve strained diplomatic ties following a meeting in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, between officials of both countries on Sunday. Now, Nyanan delegation led by Foreign Affairs Minister Rachel Omamo held talks with Somali Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Robo. As according to a press statement from the Prime Minister's office, the neighboring states, whose ties have not been on a strong footing for several months, agreed to cement their relations, particularly in the areas of diplomacy, trade, and security. All right, then, now that and foreign updates here on SMB. Now let's head into the Forex updates. That is courtesy of Centenary Bank, Uganda. Now we start with the US dollar that is buying at 3,455 while selling at 3,586 shillings. The Great Britain pound is buying at 4,781 while selling at 4,992. Meanwhile, the euro is buying at 3,989 while selling at 4,271. Now the Kenyan shilling is buying at 30.08 shillings while selling at 34.32 shillings. The Rwandese franc is buying at 2.37 shillings while selling at 5.15 shillings. And the Tanzanian shilling is buying at 1.24 shillings while selling at 1.84 shillings. All right, now that ends up our local and foreign updates here on SMB. We take a short break. We do return with the discoveries.
Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
And now we're going to head straight to our discoveries this morning. Paul, what do we have for our discoveries?
All right, now we are heading to our neighbors, Kenya, where we are set to discover Nairobi, which is one of East Africa's most developed cities. Now let's have a look at Nairobi, Kenya, and then we do return shortly.
East Africa's most cosmopolitan city, Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, calls itself the city in the sun, and a visit can be as pleasant as that sounds. Most outsiders drop in for two reasons: business and animals. A short flight from spectacular wildlife parks, such as the Masai Mara, Nairobi has also become a magnet for some of the world's biggest corporations trying to gain a foothold in Africa. The city is surprisingly beautiful with flowering trees and the perfect climate. Sunny, low humidity, almost every day. It's a palpably multicultural place, encapsulating what is happening in Africa better than any other city on the continent. Picture new construction, a lot of people, intense traffic, and more Western businesses. Yet you can still feed giraffes and baby elephants from within the city limits and see Maasai warriors ordering lattes in red blankets.
All right, there you've seen. Sorry, there. All right, there now you've seen Nairobi, Kenya, one of the most developed cities in East
Africa. Uganda is one of the East African countries. The EC countries: Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania.
Yes.
Right.
So
Kenya is the most developed among the EC.
Nairobi.
Nairobi
city is the most
City.
developed because we also have Kigali, the cleanest. So when it comes to development, Nairobi, it is actually moving very fast. It's also setting up an express highway for themselves also.
Okay. What is Kampala known for in EC?
The Pearl of Africa. We are known for being the Pearl of Africa.
No, that's Uganda, Pearl of Africa.
Kampala. I'm still yet to find out, because that is what I was actually saying. The only challenge we're facing as a country is we are yet to get an identification that if you're in Kampala, This is what it is actually known for.
I think from entertainment part of it, it's always liked for its nighttime. Yes,
But then now
that's
we have
what always
curfew.
sounds in EC. Now we have curfew. That one is not sounding now, as if we have forgotten. But moving on to our next discoveries this particular morning, we're going to cross to Tanzania now and look at the new electric train that will actually be making headlines around East Africa, not only even East Africa, even in Africa, because we're yet to find out actually what species, how unique this train is. Take a look at Tanzania's new electric train and maybe have a dream that one day you will sail along with it.
All right.
The Tanzanian Railway Corporation has said it will receive the first 42 electric locomotives from South Korea-based company Hyundai Rotem. This will see the corporation officially start operating the Dar es Salaam to Morogoro section of the standard gauge railway by November this year. This was stated by the Minister of Works and Transport after he witnessed the signing of the contract between the Tanzania Railway Corporation and Hyundai Rotem on Wednesday in Dar es Salaam. The Tanzanian SGR intends to link the country to the neighboring countries of Rwanda and Uganda, and through these two to Burundi and the Democratic of the Congo as part of East African Railway Master Plan. The first phase will link the city of Dar es Salaam and the city of Morogoro. Morogoro is a city 200 kilometers from Dar es Salaam with about 1 million inhabitants. This first phase will make it easy and fast for the residents of the two cities to move back and forth between the two cities. These new electric trains will operate at a maximum speed of 160 kilometers per hour, and each train will have the capacity to carry up to around 590 passengers. As expected, the new trains will be much faster than the current diesel trains that are operating in Tanzania that move at a speed of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. And now the big question, how will this new electric train look like? Or do we have an idea of how these trains will look like? And the answer is yes, since we know that the supplier of the 42 locomotive is the South Korean Hyundai locomotive. We suspect that some of the trains, or probably all of them, will be the KTX2 locomotives. The same company supplied similar locomotives, or rather similar electric locomotives, to Egypt, and they were also of the prototype KTX2 locomotive. So Hyundai will eventually supply 80 of these electric trains to Tanzania. There are plans by the Tanzania Railway Corporation to import 50 more trains from Germany, which will most probably be some of the most advanced and sophisticated electric trains in Africa. But our suspicion is that majority of these trains will consist the KTX2 locomotive from South Korea. In the following part of this video, you can see the prototype, that is the KTX2 from South Korea, which will be the most likely prototype that will be supplied to Tanzania.
There you have it for Tanzania, where we have looked and had a glance at that train that also is yet to actually now be numerous around East Africa, not only in Africa but also across the continent and across the globe, because at least it's making rounds of competition with some of the developed countries. And now there we go for a break. When we do return, make sure you have your notepad ready, because you know what happens in our job mat, getting opportunities right on your screen. We take a break, we do return. SMB continues.
All right, now with 34 minutes past 8 in the morning, that means we have 26 minutes to go to the top of the hour. This is SMB. We reach that particular hour, that moment in time where you get that chance and opportunity to see what is in the links or job links here as well. What is trending in our job markets? Which jobs are there for you? If I told you at home, you can grab yourself a notebook and a pen, or get your notes ready as we head into the jobs that are actually there for you or available for anyone out there at home. So you can actually apply for these particular jobs, and you never know, chance may hit you in this particular situation and you get yourself a job. Now we do start with a suitable female who is needed to work as an assistant occupation therapist. You should have qualification in social work or community-based rehabilitation or a related field with at least 2 years of experience and ready to start work immediately. You should be a resident within Makindye and passionate about children work, and this is full-time. You can inbox or WhatsApp using this particular number. If at all you have where to write, you can write 0774 928 075. If I can repeat that particular number, it's 0774 928 075. So you should be around the neighborhood of Makindye to actually inbox for that particular job. 0774 928 075.
Very well, and making it continue around here, the Human Resource Manager at the Norwegian Refugee Council is actually urgently needed, and there they're looking for a seasoned HR manager who will be responsible for oversee, manage development, and also strengthening all the HR functions. Now responsibilities for you around here is strengthening the recruitment process and ensuring that the adherence to the minimum standard is very operational. Also implementation of global standards and initiatives at the Uganda country office, maintaining a healthy and empowering office environment that encourages open honesty and also production in community. Just lastly, on two of the responsibilities, some of them you will be reading them, that is supporting line managers in producers and requiring support team training. Now let's head into what you have to have. That is, could be qualifications, university degree in human resource management, business administration, and any relevant discipline will be welcome. Minimum 5 years of experience from working as a senior HR manager in a humanitarian or recovery context. Experience from working in a complex context, documented results related to the positioning, responsibilities, knowledge about leadership skills. You must be fluent in English, both written and verbal, because you know you're going to be working with them, the Norwegian Council. There you go, just go for Norwegian Council, Refugee Council, and get to know more about this particular opportunity.
All right, now we head to the Activate Body Therapy, where they're in need of a marketing and communications officer. Now, the creation, this job summary is that they look for creation and development of online advertising, email marketing, website management, and content development for active body therapy. You should have a minimum qualification of a bachelor's with an experience level of 2 years. That is on an entry level. Your accountabilities will be coordination of both internal and external communication, including presentations, press releases, and proposals. You will also be in charge of creation and development of online advertising, email marketing, website management, and content development for active body therapy. Now, your qualification should be a bachelor's degree in mass communication or marketing, or at least have standard office ICT skills, including social media, and should at least have 2 years of experience in communication or marketing roles. You should have the ability to work calmly under pressure and within a small dynamic team, and you should have excellent interpersonal and networking skills. You should have the ability to manage a complex workload and work to tight deadlines. Now, meanwhile, and application details, if you believe you meet the requirements as noted above, please forward your application with a detailed CV, including present position and copies of relevant professional or all academic certificates, that is the university transcript of O and L levels, and by close of business on Friday 27th August 2021.
And lastly, on to our job mart this particular morning. An SMB, a consultancy electronic content creator is needed at United Nations Children Fund, Kampala, that is UNICEF. Now, UNICEF works with the world's toughest places and reaches the world, mostly in the disadvantaged children crisis. Now, here is the responsibility for you. Let's continue moving on here, because they have given from persons they need. Okay, the target and innovations. Okay, one, you have to support UNICEF Uganda member staff to adopt the use of ECM and also Microsoft Office, the 365 platform for both collaboration and knowledge, designing an integrated user-friendly eSIM platform where where users can co-create, store, and also search or retrieve information very quickly. Specific tasks you have to conduct. You have to design and develop plans for the site revamptions, communication with key stakeholders. Okay, to qualify as an advocate for every child, you must have to implement and deliver the tasks and input as listed above. Okay, you have to be fluent in English as well. Let us go to the application process. The interested candidates are required to submit a technical proposal on how they intend to approach the work. The proposal should also include timeline, methodology based on the terms of reference. The proposal must have a CV of the consultant, as well as financial proposal clearly indicating daily rate of professional fees. Okay, the candidates, I can see here the working experience. You must be in any related field they can take you. They have not specifically specified whether bachelor's or any PhD. They have said any 5 years of experience in the designated particular entity around there. Still moving on, for what do we have next? That brings us to the end of our job mat this particular morning. Hope we have been helpful.
All right, there. Now we head into our business tips. This is a particular hour where we get to give you the tips on how to, first of all, start up a business. If I told you a young entrepreneur out there and you want to have you want to venture into any business entity. And also at this particular segment, these particular tips will also help someone who's running a business to run it smoothly well as well. Maybe among the tips you may be doing these particular ones and still wondering if it is the right way to go. But definitely, if you pick one or two of them and you see this is the way to go, I think you should also keep using these particular tips as well. And for any other business entity that has been in the game for around 10 to 20 years as well, you can also pick something from here to apply to your business, as you never know. It may change abruptly, or it may do some drastic changes as well.
Very well. And we head into our 60-second. You have a Kazigo. Can you say 60? I think that
60 seconds. I can just 60 seconds.
Okay, 60 seconds among the 100. We're still referring to the 100 successful advisors from successful business entrepreneurs and successful business ideas around the globe. And onto this one, we have automate everything you can within reason. Okay, you can get a computer to perform some of the bits of the job. Estate agents have been particularly head of the game in this area. Okay, now we tap into this one as if it's very specific to estate agents, because property finding website just such as Rightmove. Okay, they have given an example of a website there. You can regularly update it for properties for sale in your chosen field. Very well. I don't think only it's for. I don't think it's only for estates.
If you can,
Because you can do an
automate
update
yes.
regardless of what you're doing on the website.
On the website, if automation, I've actually seen a number of businesses that are also updating their things. I've mentioned about even petrol stations. There are some petrol stations in Uganda, Total and Shell, they're actually dealing with what they call automation. So there is a way they term their own automation, but that is a way of if you're filing a sale, maybe if I told you doing a balancing, so it automatically has to be recorded with the website, so that even the main companies get to know from the branches.
So the system gets automatically updated.
So also, if I told you you're having many branches, because like here in real estate management, it deals with people who are also into, they have a number of real estates that they are managing. So with automation, if I told you have a business that is running branches, it may be maybe a bakery that has like 1 to 3 branches. You can still automate these particular branches to actually calculate which sales you're making, and you will easily tell what you're making out as well when you're balancing, when it comes to the monthly balancing there.
Okay, I think that one has been very clear from JORRAM SSONKO around there. I think it also cuts across. I can automate here even when I'm operating across outside the country.
Yes, because you're easily seeing everything using your
Computer,
PC.
and computer is
it is
limitless,
a website,
right?
yes. So you're doing website and online trading as well.
Okay, still moving on to our other tip of the morning: keep travel and coffee expenses down. What am I thinking? Just a mere reading of keep travel and coffee expenses down. I mean, what has come into my mind even before I get to read around here is that you need to reduce your expenses.
Definitely.
Maybe when you reducing expenditure, especially in businesses. Nemaka, I think,
Because
if you see everything, I mean, some women, we tend, most of the women, if you do not go to the supermarket or to market without a shopping list, honestly, I'm likely to buy whatever that comes to my side, like I've not budgeted for.
And by the way, because speaking about travel and coffee expenses, all the expenses when it comes to business, businessmen tend to make travel part of their to impress. Remember, you have the money.
Definitely.
You're making maybe a profit of 500,000 a month, and you're like, why don't I travel for 300,000? It won't cost anything. I'm making the profits as well.
Why don't I travel in first class?
In first class. Why don't I head to ozifunye ugenze nogama lwaki siri ako kana kokulya sigena nendyako kwegamba you want to live that luxurious lifestyle all the time because gwe buli ka profit kofunako oyagala kasabulira oyagala kalirawo toyagala kumanya sigwe yalete nako. So
it's a bad thing. It's
not a bad thing to eat
because
your
they are
money.
quoting about it around here. They are warning actually about it. But me, Paul, let me tell you, okay, I don't do it oftenly, but njala nyo kwesa. Where?
I'm actually one of those people who will sit down and say, so
when someone comes out to warn us here, that means it's all of us.
The majority of everyone here. So fenaba tugamba konti banai. Mulia sente nga wokafunya kasete kono funa ku profit no gamba
Yeah, for example, if you have raised at least 500k plus, you should be taking coach or in cheap hotels or hostels. You can even see how they even considering hostels for students. This one is actually cutting across, whether you're a businessman, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an employee, whether you're an employer. This one particular here is telling us, is warning us against our expenditures. I mean, okay, when I get some money, I really feel like I have worked a lot. That is the time when I think of buying chicken, when I'm passing by CJ
or like, I need
KFC,
to buy something.
I
need to spend my ngowulira sente olina nyingi zikuyita.
Ukazikuocha. I really don't know, like how can you advise someone who has got like money and owulira totally? I'm telling you,
No,
like
by the
you
way,
feel
if you tell me to advise about money, yet I'm also in that scenario where if I get someone, I'm
okay,
like,
we're going to bring someone who can advise us
More
on
on how
money, and that is
expenditures,
actually
yes.
Friday when we'll be engaging the value of money on Friday. Don't miss out onto our exclusive discussion regarding money value. So we will have expert analysis on that. We really need advice. Sente zinjo changambye nakobowa board.
no, ndekawan.
Boda na nyabo tuse ndekawan.
You're craving for something now.
And let me tell you what happened. Maybe even the devil is they say the devil is a
liar.
Devil is a liar. So I went into KFC, and then you know sometimes these orders confuse people. So I order for, is it a pack? There is a way they rate them. I think it's
from,
also
10,000 to they have their rating.
Yes, they have their rating, but also their segmentations of the packs, how they were being
Depending on the
segmented.
money, yes.
Okay, I ordered for 2 pieces. Kumbe 2 pieces wali ku KFC ziba two orders actually. So I said 1 order but 2 pieces. So for them maybe they understood. I really don't know how it worked that day because nanyiga, but still I mean I ate that 2. Here comes the deal. Like okay, they tell me your order is ready. Coming to check my order, I say I have 4 pieces. I'm like I ordered for 2 pieces. And like yeah, those are the 2 pieces, like the 2 packs. I ordered for 2 packs, I mean. So to me, maybe I thought they were 2 pieces. So they brought 4 pieces.
Ma'am.
I had to eat the 4 pieces.
Nazinia,
but I'm feeling yes, because they have made more expense. But again, I'm like, maybe I'm worth it. Why did I even stop a border for the first place to just drop around here
to buy chicken?
Because I'm craving KFC. Moving on to this particular one. What do we have next? By the way, this one is warning everyone. Even if Tetwaga Akwelumia, but how, to what extent are you doing it? People get on Sala and they call friends. I'm one of the friends who are being called onto some people's every weekly parties or every. Not Paul, if you want to be friends with me, never expect me to spend at parties. Then no. I only come to your party to eat and to be bought for. But if baby no, I have a lot of things that need that money. So to what extent are you there to impress people all the time? To impress people, you know that you have the money, and of which after the 1 week of the month you have taken a 1 week or 2 weeks, you're broke because you have spent money to impress. So get really warned. What do we have next onto our business tip?
Number 64, we head to knowing when to scale. Now here we would say you have to have you have a product to market, and it's fit and show that you have a replicable sales and marketing process. If the founder has managed to flex his connections and land some clients, this does not tell you that you're ready for rapid growth. So meanwhile, this is actually to tell you that maybe when you're scaling, what does it know when to say now my business is ready? Because sometimes you may have a number of clients and then you get excited that now my business is booming. Or you may be getting the sales now coming in and you're like, maybe the first 2 years, you relax a little bit. So you need to first of all understand when to understand that now my business is somewhere.
And you relax.
You relax or you add in something.
But is there relaxing in business? I may be
okay, there is relaxing
to
maybe
relax now
in a professional way.
Which one is professional?
Not relaxing in the way that cat business
which one is professional way of relaxing?
Professional relaxing is being at work at least each day you have to be at your workplace in most cases. Because there are some people who have actually been, when you start up your business, you avail yourself on a daily routine. And then after the business booming up and making big sales, you feel like you're supposed to be there once in a week. Now that is the relaxation that is bad for your business. The
Okay.
professional one is maybe you may be saying, let me come 1 hour and check out on my business.
And what if
Unless
I've
you-
set already that trend, I've set it, I've set the processes, I have set people who will be there. You mean I cannot just have maybe 2 days off? I mean, taking my
No, I
tea,
think one day
coffee
would
at
be
home?
off, because you see, most entrepreneurs never rest when it comes to business, because in most cases,
Oba ku mulimu, oba
many business episode bisinga oba wagisettinga nga you know what how to run the business, or maybe ng'omanyi nti kino kiri engeri gye kitambulamu, it becomes a part of you. Nti kyovalaba in most cases some entrepreneurs, when entrepreneurs die, sometimes their businesses also tend to die, or their ideas, because in most cases kitegeera nti omulimu wabulawokko katono. Let me say maybe 2 days may be okay, but wabulawokko wiiki eyo business ng'etandika onnyigamuko, waddira nga it's like a recession, muddamu buto okutandika.
I know. Do you know why I'm laughing? I'm looking at your ear.
And I told
I'm
you my
looking
ear.
at your ear with the walkie-talkie bending it so well, and I was just reflecting on how masks make us.
No, people are actually saying, that by the
my
time we
God.
shall be done with the lockdown or the COVID,
Our
wearing
ears-
masks,
people's
our
ears will
will
be bent like
will
this.
be bent like this. So we shall have new faces, new facial reactions. So you come up with
But
your
surely
ears
you
actually.
can go ahead and fix it.
Oh.
Okay, still moving on to our last business tip for this particular morning. Put your business under the spotlight. Let us dive into how you can put your business under the spotlight, and we call it business tip. Now, only by looking back and analyzing what you worked and what you didn't can you honestly understand how to move the business forward. This involves looking at profit levels, sales figures, marketing results, and anything that actually provides valuable insight on how you have trained your current market position. This one is a very good one. Beginning with market, going to sales, and going to profits. So it's highlighting 3 entities: markets, profits, and sales.
A market. First of all, you're tapping who are your customers, and when it comes to the sales, how am I making?
How do we find the balance, Paul? Because you have to balance these 3 at least in a way that they are really balanced: market, sales, and profits. Which one do you forefront onto the spotlight first?
I think the sales, because initially
Sales.
when you're starting up the business, you want to make the sales come up, and in most cases, if you were to look closely and you view with the market sometimes is unpredictable. You may you may have your market ready, and you know this is the market that I'm always hitting, but the number of customers or people who are willing to go for your service may differ depending on the time frame, or depending on seasons as well. But then with sales, you can easily tell how much you're making on a daily, or within 1 hour. If you make your clear evaluations, that is how you get to understand that. If within, maybe you would understand that between 7 to 11 in the morning, I make around this figure. So mid-morning, I'm making this. In the afternoon, I'm making this. So you actually understand that during this particular hour, this is when I make more sales. This is when I make less sales. So you need to understand that there is a lot of effort needed in the other hour, or but with the market becomes unpredictable. So you should have to forefront the sales first of all, and then you tap to the market, because the
Then
sales will give you
profits come last.
come last, because that is you're not supposed to overlook into the profits. Because if you
always warn against
overview about the
all that.
profits, that is when you're going to get excited about your business, and you'll end up either chewing them up, or spending them up.
Or them
something
chewing
where,
you.
or them chewing you.
Yeah,
and
they
chewing
can
the
chew you
business.
and put you down. I mean, if you for every time you go you put something on pressure, it puts the pressure back onto you. And Paul, what you're saying is actually right. I buy it, and it's very brilliant. And you're talking about that, but it needs, like we were saying earlier, you as an entrepreneur to be there at first, because you won't know the sales for that particular hour or day when you're absent at that particular work.
Definitely.
So at least first set the pace, maybe 2 years, at least 5 years. I do not know your kind of business that you're doing. You can relatively tell the mode at which it will pick up. But what do we have next when we return from the break?
When we do return from the break, we're heading into our news updates. It's local and the foreign news updates here on SMB. But then afterwards, we have some courtesy stories as well to give you what has been making headlines in the country following the lifting of the lockdown. That is the 42-day lockdown after the partial lift from the president. So that means after the break, we have all those stories coming up here on SMB. This is Smart 24 TV. Good morning.
Manyaga nga bampita maneno maka nimu gwenkola mugwa boda luddemu myaka 2 era funyemu ebirungi nguzemu ettaka mu kyalo no mulimu ngwagala nnyo. Nakutandika nga 2016 kwembeera mbi mulimu kulwanoonya mulimu nga tegulaba netusalawo ntukolaki tuvuge boda ate tulaba sente zibeerawo ku boda so tubeesawo ne butonotono. so okuvuga abantu nga 215 webityo enga okufuna mitwalo ng'ena kitono nnyo. Nze nkola nga mitwalo 4 kitono nnyo. Weba nga zigenze nnyingi obeera ku mitwalo 10, mitwalo 9 egyo obeerako.
Smart 24, driving business.
$1,039 ghost names have been discovered on the nurses' payroll. Now, the names were unearthed during last week's payment of lunch allowances for nurses. Now, somehow 147 ghost health workers received the money under the docket of nurses working under Uganda Police, 40 from Jinja District, 40 from Ntungamo District, and other districts including Kanungu, Kamwenge, Ajumani, Bunyagambu, and Kasese. Now, with the revised allowances, qualified nurses who have been getting 3,000 shillings per day for lunch are now receiving 15,000 shillings, whereas nursing assistants who were being paid 2,000 per day have been upgraded to 10,000 shillings, and at least 70 billion has been budgeted for the allowances annually. Now, continuing with our local updates, Dennis Obal, the head teacher of St. Gabriela Memorial Comprehensive Secondary School in Kole District, is in police custody for alleged theft of students' examination registration fees. It's alleged that Obal only remitted shillings 600,000 from the over 7 million shillings he collected from 35 candidates to UNEB. This promoted the examination body to withhold the candidates' results pending the clearance of the examination fees. Now, after failing to access their results, the learners decided to seek help from the police, which swung into action and picked up to the head teacher. Now, Richard Obang, one of the affected candidates, says that he tried accessing his results online but in vain. And several candidates say that they are under pressure from their parents who think that they may have used the All right, that is a sad story there, and also quite a warning to the head teachers as well. Their caution to them as well. And now, lastly, in our local updates, Busia police are holding a man suspected to be extorting money from residents in disguise that he works with Umeme. Now, the suspect has been identified as Vincent Ouma, who is 35 years old, a resident of Marachi village in Eastern Division of Busia municipality. Now, Ouma is accused of extorting 60,000 shillings from 3 people and registered the names of 18 people promising to bring them electricity in the area within a short period of time. Now, he was found registering as well as extorting money from residents in villages of Aspototi A, Sireka, Aspototi B, Sikunda village, all in Sikunda sub-county of Busia district. All right, now that ends up our local updates here on SMB. We head into our foreign updates. Now we start from Turkey, as Harun ID, the Turkish national who was detained by security on Saturday at Wilson Airport after jetting in from Uganda, has been deported. Now his lawyer, Ahmedishin Abdullahi, accompanied by Kasparat legislator Oscar Sudi, confirmed the development to reporters on Monday. Now the lawyer, Ahmed Abdullahi, of the Kawa Law Courts on August 9, 2021, announced that his client Harun Aydin was deported to Turkey. Now, Mr. Aydin was expected at Kahawa Law Courts in Kiambu to answer 2 terrorism charges. Now, also still moving on, regional sets are set to meet over South Sudan tensions as regional African body IGAD said it planned to hold emergency talks on Monday to discuss the situation in South Sudan after deadly fighting between rival factions of Vice President Riek Machar's party. Now, at least 32 people were reported dead in the clashes that broke out at the weekend after Machar's force in SPLA-10 said they had ousted him as party leader and head of its armed forces. Now, the Intergovernment Authority on Development, that is IGAD, said that the virtual meeting would involve foreign ministers of the 7 national bloc. And now the agenda for this emergency council meeting will be to discuss the current political situation in South Sudan that requires this urgent attention to the council, as IGAD's secretary said in a statement. Now, lastly, in our local and foreign updates, and lastly in our foreign as well, Chinese internet and media regulators are pledging to come down hard on unhealthy online fan groups as supporters of pop star Chris, who took to social media to vehemently defend him against allegations of rape. Now, the Central Commission for Discipline Inspections, that is the ruling Chinese Communist Party disciplinary watchdog, said Thursday that the Cyberspace Administration of China, as well as the Internet regulator, has shut down 1,300 fan groups and disabled 4,000 online accounts and removed more than 150,000 toxic remarks in the recent crackdown against unhealthy celebrity fan culture. That ends up our local and foreign updates here on SMB. Now we head into the forex rates markets, courtesy of Centenary Bank Uganda. Now we start with the US dollars, that is buying at 3,455 while selling at 3,586. All right, there we head into our forex updates here, as depending on the forex rates in town. This is courtesy of Centenary Bank Uganda. Now we start with the US dollar, that is buying at 3,455 while selling at 3,586 shillings. Meanwhile, the Great Britain pound is buying at 4,881. Shillings while selling at 5.15 shillings. And then lastly, the Tanzanian shilling is buying at 1.24 shillings while selling at 1.84 shillings. And that ends our local foreign as well as our forex rates updates here on SMB. This is Smart 24 TV. Good morning.
Amanya gange nze Ayeba Johnson mva Kyenjojo nsika chapati simaze mu banga dene ekiri awo myaka nge 2 yoka nguzeemu bintu bingi ninawe enkoko zange nine embuzi kale osanga nti nga bakasitoma bajja ne balya nga tebasasudde ekiri awo oba ebintu oyinza obikola nebitatambula bulungi nebibeera awo nebisulamu ate bwebisulamu yebaloosi oba oyinza okubulwa sente ezigula ebintu ebirala. Ebintu bya buseere kuduuka naddala engano eyo gavumenti yandutuyambye nekendezaamu kaawo ku sente ne butto ebintu birinnye nnyo ate ekitala saawa zino bakasitoma si bangi n'ekiri awo.
Smart 24, driving business.
It's past 9 in the morning, and we're almost heading into our fourth hour around SMB right here. My name is RITAH KABANYORO with JORRAM SSONKO, driving businesses together around the country, the globe, and also the continent. And now, yes, we're in the lockdown, partial lockdown. And a lot of people now are moving because they have access to public transport, ranging from border borders and also taxis. But now, border borders have come out and are raising concerns about the time they were given. That is in regards to everyone's time around curfew that starts kanjogerenga 7. Sawa ya usiku. Is it? Sawa ya usiku, and the other one is Babu has gone out. So what Titus knows. Titus, do you know the 5:30? 5:30 is the sawa ya usiku. Is then yes, then the 7 is sawa ya saa 11 na sawa ya usiku. Boda boda anataka what? Hapana. They border borders want change. So border borders are calling out, for time to be extended, the curfew time to be extended, arguing that actually the time they get onto that urge of getting money, people are nowhere to be seen. People are going home around 6, between 6 and 7. People are on the road, but I don't think people are on the road around 7:37. I don't want even to say that because I'm not advocating for that right now, because we are still adhering to SOPs. 7:30 you need to, 7 you need to be at your home. So between 6 and towards 7, that's when border borders actively want to be, taking people home, and this is when people are walking home. But now everyone is in the rush hour. Owa border nyuka saa meka saa 10 oba ne saa 10 ntwala they added them an hour because the president bakoma 12 1800 hours, which is saa 12. Yes. So sawa na the other is that sawa ya usiku and sawa ya Titus, remind us again. 11. Okay, tugenderao. Let's look at border borders and raising their concerns regarding that particular curfew time and how they want it to be extended. We hope their concerns will come to rescue.
chifu ni mukwera likirya nyo kubanga mbere ya society badde nyangu n'akamu mama nabba nsubiza sente zaffe abasinga tetwazifuna batugambe bwana nanda gamuntu agenda kufuna sente kaya tumanyi Newa lewa tulowooza okafana ababoda wakati abasinga tukola mmere ya leero kimanyi naawe tukola mmere ya leero gavumenti ebeko gyetukolera ate sikebagema abantu ebageme amudenga bwetwabe twali naye kati era ntekatekaegavumenti agenda bagema abantu ate kwene essaawa aweza tutaza mulokoddawo tukuŋŋange wa boda nimukweraliikirira nimukutya kwenyini ekituufu ekituluma mwana tubeera wano kado tasa tusangako kuline kubu abantu bokumutasa n'abasinga babugirano boda tulina tubafuna kuteteza mabanja tukimanyi tokate muzeeyi abadde akatuta ataleeta sitole musaawa 12 abasajja batwatendedwe tegere musajja nawakwatanga saa 12 kwakayite dakiiki emu ye toyagala ye tomunyonyola katazikona 12 oba mukyetegese oba temuneetegeka kudda waka bo nga basalako wabula simanyi oba bino kafyu ye atambula saawa kolona atambula saawa emu zokka ffe gye batukwata oba atambula 12 zokka ffe ze batukwata simanyi nze kyemanyi kolona bandipulese netukola pakanetuka mu budde bw'abantu ba bulijjo basaawa emu oba 2 kuba omuntu abeera wano ekiro obudde omuntu wanyukira ffe wetukolera sente ate obudde wetwandikoleddemu sente ate we batugobera nti sawa 10 kyasi tubasombe tubazeewo gye babeera naye ffe batugoba mu tawuni ate nga abantu bakyali mu tawuni bakyakola kitegeeza tuba tetuli bakozi tuba tetwazze kukola kitegeera tuba tetwazze kukola so nze ngamba muzeeyi Museveni teyandikoze kiri kimu bwe tubanga etteeka ya sawa 11 aliteekawo agambe sawa 11 ffenna twamuka ekibuga n'abantu ba bulijjo tusobola okusomba ku bantu ba bulijjo tubaze waka kuba abantu batambula obasanga saawa 4 za kiro bali ku kkubo okubatambula nga gwe kagodako wakateresedde ate obudde bwewandikoleddemu sente kati nze ngamba kafyu bamugyewo oba bateekewo etteeka abantu ffenna tubeere ku leve emu bagambe nti saawa 11 mwena mwamuka ekibuga naffe tusobole okusomba ku bantu kuba kati tusiba tutu
Not even talk about borders now. First, let's look at the population that we just saw on the screen around there, around Chikubu. I think that is Luum Street, around Chikubu, no one say no.
Oh, Omani, there is a lot of people. No masks on. The social distancing is absolutely.
The people I've seen, okay, rate the mask. The mask, some of them are pulling them down because they were around here. But now, obanfukamire, temutuza mu mugalo, temutuza mu lockdown. Things that we are doing are greatly going to affect on how we run businesses around. You can imagine if someone is watching, if the president is watching, who is watching already maybe around this time, and then is looking at some of the violations that are happening around there. Okay, tetuganye muchikube wanseyo mubukubo bwe tuita mu downtown. Temuba social distance. This one twachigumira, it's fine, but then how about your mask? Why don't you put on your mask? Because you're in a mask. Sorry, you are in a mass and then you're just walking abantu bogera oli atunda wali ojano yogera when you don't have a mask. Like, why? Please let us make sure, because this is very important. The country is warning about the third wave, the fourth wave. But if we do not actually respect some of the SOPs put by the directives put by the president, where do you think we'll be heading? Kati anaba movie the next address he will come, will you be so much surprised when he comes up to say, you know what, you have not adhered to the SOPs, this is what is going to happen to downtown. Then Galeo. But then going back to the borders arguing about or raising their concerns about the curfew time, what do you make of it?
The curfew time. First of all, you want to say we were in a time where these border men were not working, or the border riders here were not working, or they were not operating in COVID. Now, in a time when the president comes out and gives you a time frame and says maybe you will operate from 6 in the morning to 6 because our taxi imagine our taxi there is a lot of traffic at our border taxi gundi tetera bakwatanyo traffic jam tatela ba affecting kati our taxi I know kuva in fact nayomba nagamba bude baba mu abuton because by the time za completing am routes ze it's someone omuntu yakola route nagamba nti buli lunaku ngena kola route nga abiri olunaku.
So what are you saying briefly, like are you saying bagumirao to genderao
for now so okay. To genderao because you could see at least nti mukola kuba sente buli muntu akola
n'obubbi bwa boda bweyongedde lwaki mwagala essaawa zigenze waggulu ennyo from 7 to 8 why especially during these unprecedented times when we are all adhering. So for now please katugendere awo until the president comes up to until we see at least there is somewhere we have reached and vaccination has been successful regarding half of the population. You never know what is really coming out on your door, but how are you going to make sure you divide the 12 hours you have of the day and then you're making it successful? Not just sitting there and saying you want more hours. Make sure you make it count within those hours. And now let us just take a glance at restaurant people on how they are making money. Are they even making money this time? Let us see what they make of faring or keeping afloat after the lockdown or during this partial lockdown.
Munaku ana mubiri kyo kituufu embera yatuyisa bubi. Bafuna kasente fe bafuna kasente sijja kulimba naye embera yatuyisa bubi goge mazima. Ezana banja sazifuna naye embera yatuyisa bubi kati after omuggalo. Omukulembeze yatuwa obudde butono. Batugoba mangu mu kibuga saa 10 bamino kubanga mugadde wa maduuka tetukoze embera mbi abasirikale. Asirikale batukuba emiggo ssebo kakati ekirala. Baga akafiwa saawa emu fe tubeera wala emotoka banazo bazikwata boda bazijjawo mangu tutambula bigere ne batukubira emiggeyo waffe.
Beera yo si nnungi okusinziira nga buli muntu bw'ajogera naye nga etukute bubi ate nga ennaku zino ana mu bbiri ze baatuwadde baatusuubiza sente ne tutazifuna so mu mbeera eyo twalinda sente ne tutaziraba.
Andi kati yamanoonya sente batugoba mu kibuga saa 10 zembera nansana otambula ogotuuka zigatugala saa 2 ng'olinga namuŋŋoona nga bakkoona kibooko
lwakuba nti ne kandibadde nti batugudde mbadde sisobola gireka kuba mbadde nfunyemu bakasitoma bangi nga buli lunaku ne bwe mba nga sibatwalidde owulira nti kibakosa oba nga balina obwetaavu bungi nnyo naye ngamba kambereze mu bizinesi yetambule mu maaso ate mbadde nina ne gundi bizinesi endala embalala nga nina hoteri naye nga nayo eri mu kizimbe kyaki naye nga nayo eri mu kizimbe kinene naye ne bagiggala kati nga mbadde nfunira wabiri nga nfunira ku saluuni ne nfunira ne ku hoteri okkakananga eri bagaddeyo neno ku saluuni bagaddeyo so nengamba kanjiyewo ekirala era kyenjiyiza nakyo kyakutteyo era abantu bakyagala kuba bagamba nkola bulungi buli kimu kyenkola.
Around Kampala, what do you think could have caused, them not being in business, especially this time as we go for a break?
Well, what I would think is, in most cases, you would look at the expenditure, the expense levels of Ugandans has to change. Someone is going to town to earn something. and then you go to town and maybe make 5,000 a day. So you would think that going to a restaurant to get food at 3,000, because I think most of the restaurants in town start from 3,000 to 4,000.
3,500 to 5.
3,500. So one would think of, if I make 5,000, what will I eat in the night? So definitely
also what
someone
will
will go
take
for
me
something.
home,
What will
probably.
take me home? You need a 1,000 maybe to take you home. 1,000 that will bring you, if at all you're living close. So you would think of, if I can get something to eat at 1,000, then I wouldn't go for a restaurant.
So could we say that emmere mugisale bay so that we be in lane with the customers?
Okusala ebbeeyi basobola, naye obuzibu obuliwo
Bannaye bagigula
nabo
bakyeri.
rent, nabo bagula, balina osasula rent. So that is why in most cases ojja sanga ng'asobola okunyigiriza
Then
alabe.
it goes back to policy. It goes back to the policy. If policy makers can try and I can say revise a standard way of how actually we can sell some of the products so that buli omu afunemu ate aganyuremu. Very well, we'll now take a break. We do return after the break. JORRAM SSONKO will be on your screen to give you the latest in business of sport, in sports business. Good morning, this is SMB. My name is RITAH, KABANYORO and JORRAM SSONKO. This is SMB.